Okay, so let's, as we wrap up our coverage of nonlinear relationships and how to test for those, we're going to switch gears now and focus on categorical predictors in regression. I think at this stage it's probably safe to say that the class takes a bit of a turn and things get a little more complicated from here on out, because categorical predictors are a little bit more difficult to deal with in regression than our continuous ones. Continuous ones are fabulous. I love continuous variables. I think most everybody likes them better for regression than categoricals. But categorical variables are often used in our research. They're very important, and so we need to know how to deal with them. All right, so just for your reference, there are several different terms that are out there for categorical predictors. They're also called nominal variables. So they're nominally scaled, and that just means that they're grouping variables and that their values are arbitrary and they don't represent degrees of a construct. So if you had a scale from 1 to 7 when you're assessing someone's openness to new experiences or depression or another kind of construct, that's a continuous variable. However, if you have a variable like gender or ethnicity, those are grouping variables and they're nominally scaled. So more on that in a bit, hopefully. That will be clear in a second. But there are another term that is often used for categorical. Okay, so we have categorical, we have nominal, and we also have discrete. So have you heard of this idea of a discrete variable? And that just means, again, that it's a grouping variable and that the values are arbitrary and they don't represent being placed higher or lower on a construct. Okay, so if you're assigned to group 3 because you are from department 3 in our study, and we're comparing means across departments, that doesn't mean that your department is better than department 2 or department 1. Now, if it were a continuous variable, a 3 is better than a 2, or at least larger. So people who score a 3 have better well-being, let's say, than people who score a 2. But if you're in department 3, it doesn't mean that you're better than department 2. It just means you're different. Okay, so categorical predictors are in groups that are different, but they're not hierarchically arranged. Regression is a technique that assumes the values that are associated have some kind of meaning. So that means a 1 is a small amount of something, a 10 is a large amount of something. And it assumes that this is a spectrum of an underlying construct. And so we have to trick SPSS, kind of like we did with the nonlinear. We have to trick it to work in our favor. Okay, so we need to do something called dummy coding or vector coding. So the rest of this presentation will be about doing dummy coding.